it can be seen that the highest of God's principles and laws act on our desire, does that mean our attitudes towards emotion and pain will change so that we come to love experiencing them, as it means we have the opportunity to grow close to God, but not in a sadistic way?
Yeah, good question. Yes, it does mean that. So when you truly understand desire, and this is why I know the majority, pretty much the most of you at this stage don't understand it. But when you truly understand desire, you are no longer afraid of pain or emotion. Yeah. And that also is a lovely place to be in. You can be in that place in quite a low condition, actually. You can be in that place. You can see that if you truly understood desire, that desire is driving your whole existence now, you can see that even your redemption is a desire-driven process if you so choose. And your transformation is a desire-driven process if you so choose. So you would then consider, well, why would I not choose, given the fact that it's much faster and more rapid? The only reason why I perhaps would not choose is because I'm afraid of pain or emotion.
Yeah.
Right? Now, once I truly engage desire at the soul level, at an emotional level, you will no longer be afraid of pain or emotion. And particularly, usually that happens fairly early in the stages of developing with God's love being received. And when I say fairly early, it's not usually something that happens for the majority of people till the third or fourth or fifth spheres. So on Earth, that would mean quite a bit of love needs to be received first before you get into that stage. But you can see that once you are in that stage, you'd no longer be afraid of having a cry or feeling ashamed or feeling guilty or any of those things. And you can see the more you release the fear of a certain emotion, the more freedom you have. So, for example, if I'm not afraid of being ashamed, I could still have shame in me, right? But if I'm not afraid of feeling ashamed, then somebody can't manipulate me with shame. I'm no longer controllable by shame. If I'm not afraid of feeling guilt anymore as an emotion, then it means that people can still try to make me guilty, and I still may have guilt within me, but if I'm no longer afraid to feel it, then it means that they can attempt to manipulate me with guilt, but I won't be able to be manipulated with guilt. The same applies to sadness, anger, and any other form of emotion, right? So if I'm not afraid of my emotions, it's also highly likely that I'll be less afraid of others having an emotion as well, which means I allow others to have emotions as well without feeling that there's something personal. If they have an emotion of desire for someone other than me, if it's my partner, she has a desire for someone other than me, then I won't be afraid of that feeling that it would generate in me because I'm not afraid of my emotions. So I'm no longer trying to control her desires. I'm no longer trying to force her into doing something else, you see? So yes, so you can see that our attitudes towards emotion and pain, if we truly understood desire and the power of it, our attitude towards emotion and pain would change quite rapidly, really, and we would start to have a very strong feeling of no matter what pain or emotion I need to experience, if I desire to experience it, I'm going to do better than if I'm forced into experiencing it. All right? Given the laws and how they operate, and particularly how the laws of redemption and transformation operate, you would think that you would then start to embrace that. So that means that whenever many of you get resistive, I know you still really don't get the concept of desire. And therefore you don't get the concept of choosing to feel emotional pain rather than avoiding emotional pain. And this then causes you to be driven by the avoidance of pain, as we discussed in the very first group, the will group. Driven by the avoidance of pain is because we are afraid of pain and afraid of the emotions associated with it. So obviously, if we had desire, we would, even though we have these things within us, we would choose to feel them. Desire, not just choose, but desire to feel them. We want to feel them, want to go through them. and we would not be as resistive as we are towards emotions, because we understand that feeling emotion is the fastest transformational period of our life if we feel emotion. Not only that, we can see through this discussion that anything we receive from God is obviously going to be emotional, given that God communicates via two forms, mathematics and emotion, and both of them transmit information to us. We can see the need for us to learn how to be emotional. And so we would go, okay, is every time I shut down my emotions here, what am I doing? I'm shutting down the potential of my own transformation as well as just shutting down my own emotional experience. So it's a very powerful thing to actually come to that awareness, and I suggest pretty much everyone here has yet to really come to that awareness. But once you do, now your desire to experience your emotion is very strong, and your desire to release pain through experience is very strong, and you're no longer governed by avoidance of the painful experience. When you think about it, all addictions is avoiding painful experiences. That's all they're there for, right? Yeah. So many of you are so worried about your addictions and deconstructing your addictions, but the reality is they'll all go away from you once you stop avoiding painful emotional experiences. In other words, once you stop avoiding pain, your addictions will leave you. So that's a very rapid way of addressing most of your addictions. Of course, we need to gain the awareness of that before we'll do it. So that's a problem for most of us. We need to first go through the harder way to gain an awareness, and then we can embrace the easier way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Yeah, good. Thank you.